Alrighty, let's go ahead and jump into this video today. Today we're covering Tozy's channel actually, titled "TikToker Got Rich from Faking Being a Billionaire." You know, this is something that isn't new. We've heard this story time and time again, right? People faking something that they're not, faking being rich, showing off jewelry, designer items, right? This isn't new, but let's see where this story goes and see how she gets in trouble from this.
This TikToker got rich from faking to be a billionaire for TikTok videos. And honestly, it is just such an interesting example of how, yet again, things are not always as they seem like they are on social media. But this so-called billionaire and queen of rich talk, which I guess is the TikTok term for a bunch of rich girls sitting there and yapping while unboxing
Queen of Rich Talk. I've honestly never heard this terminology, although I'm not on this side of TikTok anyways. Not that I would understand where these people come from, but that's an interesting terminology. Okay. Queen of Rich Talk.
like $50,000 purses and so on and so on. But she got so much backlash from a couple of tone-deaf TikToks that she accidentally got her family's past brought up and aired out for the whole world. Because a lot of people are questioning, where did all this money come from?
I think some people would just call that karma, but hey, who am I? You know,
And a lot of people are speculating that it came from some questionable business dealings. But at one point, she was hailed as one of the few rich girls who rich is right, whatever that means. But she's now under fire for being, well, painfully out of touch. I don't know, like, what people.
rich is right. Now, from what that sounds like to me is kind of like an entitlement thing, right? Where they believe because they have money, because they're quote unquote rich, which obviously she wasn't, right? I don't think this video would been made if she was rich. Um, it's an entitlement, right? You see this in the food industry, customer service industry. When you're dealing with people on a daily basis, sometimes you run across that entitled customer that thinks that everything they say or everything they think is correct, and it's just never the case. But you do run into these people, and they're never fun to deal with. But let's see what happens with her.
Expected though, but she feeds her cat caviar for breakfast. So the fact that people thought that she wasn't out of touch to begin with just doesn't make sense whatsoever to me. But hey, here we are. But nowadays, you can argue that most people are kind of over content creators, like, flaunting their excessive wealth online, because at this point,
Oh my word, he is so true about that. He's so right. The amount of careers that have gotten destroyed because these content creators losing touch with who their fans were and how they originally got these fans on their side in the first place. There's too many to count, right? You can go back and look at some of these older YouTube creators, right? And they've just lost touch and they lose their original fan base, right? They destroy their careers. So he's completely right about that.
excessive flexing material things is just so overdone. Like, in the last couple of years, it seems like so many influencers suddenly have leased a supercar and they out of nowhere have a course to sell you. But despite this sort of content being pretty tacky, Becca Bloom avoided a lot of that usual criticism and was instead admired and adored by literally millions of people on TikTok. Yeah, 5.3 million people to be exact. I guess you can kind of say that her content to girls on TikTok is kind of like what Rice Gum was to Hypebeast back in like 2016. I mean, one of her earliest videos is a bunch of Hermes boxes piled up in the back of a Cybertruck. Like, tell me that doesn't sound like a modern version of some clout house bit from years ago. But everything started to shift when she decided to post a hot take.
Yeah, and that kind of surprises me that even had people following it. I mean, I think people these days will follow just about anything, but yeah, it does surprise me that she had that many followers. Yeah.
And that had a lot of her followers feeling rubbed the wrong way. And it makes sense.
Here's what men don't understand about equality. You think equality means splitting the bill. Women live in a society where equality has never existed in the first place. Women still only make 80% of what a man makes for the same full-time job. So when you
This is bliss ignorance, man. Oh my god. This has been rebutted so many times, right? That you have to elect to be ignorant. Not that I want to necessarily get into politics with my videos, right? But this right here, I'm telling you, it's bliss ignorance. If that was true, if that was true, right? Why doesn't the entire workforce, why is it not full of women? 100% women. If an employer can get away with paying 70 something cents on the dollar what they would have to pay a man, why would they hire a man? It's basic economics. If you run a company, if you run a business, you would understand you try to cut your expenses as much as possible. You're not going to hire somebody that's going to cost a dollar that can do the same job for 75 cents. You just wouldn't. Bliss ignorance. But let's see where she goes with this.
As for a 50-50 date, know that her 50% costs more of her income than it does yours. Second of all, women pay more just to exist in the dating world, about $400 a month just on grooming and beauty. And that's not because
And it's a choice. So I'm gonna say it's not a choice, right? That'd be my assumption. Oh, it's not a choice. It's it's you guys set the standard for it. That's not true. Talk to any man that's in a loyal relationship or just in a relationship in general, right? And ask him what's important to him, right? Oh, you got to get your nails done, do your hair, do your makeup. No, 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 no. Man wants somebody that's there with him, that's there as a companion in partnership, right? This stuff doesn't matter. It matters to them. It matters to her. Obviously, superficial, artificial lady here, right? That has to fake her wealth, right? Obviously, she's gonna do all this stuff. That's insane. $400 a month on quote unquote beauty. Do you know what I spend, lady? I maybe spend $5 a month, okay, for a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner bottle. That's all I spend. Okay, maybe a stick of deodorant, $7. Boom. Okay, I don't get that. I don't spend. Oh, my haircut. I forgot. $20. Boom. That's every I don't know, couple months. My hair grows slow. It's ridiculous. $400 a month. Don't do that. Save it. Pocket it. There you go.
they want to spend more, it's because they're held to the beauty standards that men built and judge them by. Not only that, women carry safety risks too. They are
Men do not judge women as much as women judge women. Sorry. Just not true. Not true at all.
2 to 3 times more likely to experience violence from a date. Men love to talk about equality, but not the part where you have to send your locations to your friends and carry safety weapons in your purse just to go to dinner with you.
Okay. Okay. You're dating the wrong men. Simple. You're dating the wrong men. If you genuinely feel like, hey, I have to take all these precautions to be on a date in the first place, why are you on the date? Why would you be on a date that you feel unsafe, that you have to be sending your location? Why would you do that? So you're dating the wrong person. Not necessarily that men are all these violent people. Like, we're not that violent. Come on now. You're dating the wrong people. Choose better. That's on you. That's not on the guy. Trust me, not all men are violent, angry people.
Here's the irony. Men only remember the word equality when it benefits them financially. Not when it comes to wages, not when it comes to safety, not when it comes to emotional workload, not when it comes to the cost of beauty, not when it comes to the social scrutiny women face on a daily basis. But suddenly you want equality when the bill hits the table. Equality isn't identical treatment. Equality is balanced responsibility. And until society becomes statistically equal, you cannot cherry pick equality only.
Please tell me equality one more time. My God. I'm sorry. I don't even know why I'm making this video. It's literally like it's a drill in my head listening to this garbage.
In moments where it allows you to contribute less. So yes, my husband pays all the bills, and yes, I think that's the bare minimum.
I feel like that
Bare minimum. Bare minimum. What does she do? Oh, I forgot. She fakes being rich. Right. Okay.
final sentence is what really makes everything so out of touch. And that's the bare minimum. Like, come on. If she ended it with,
Yeah, bare minimum. Let's talk about, the average salary of people these days, right? It's not that much. As he's saying, out of touch. She's way out of touch. There's not many couples that can afford to be on a single salary household income, right? It's just not a thing that exists anymore today. Out of touch, 100%. Ignorant by choice. Genuinely, that's what I believe.
Like, and I'm so incredibly grateful for him. I feel like it would just come across pretty differently. That would have at least changed part of the feel of the video, because that's a massive privilege to be able to have your dude cover everything for you. Inherently, I feel like most men want to provide.
Yeah, that's perfect point, right? As he was about to say, most men do want to provide. Um, she's completely entitled, and she doesn't live in reality. She doesn't live what the average. I'm assuming she's American. She sounds American. Um, doesn't live what the average American life is like. She doesn't understand that. She doesn't know what it is. Very clearly to me, at least.
For their family. But with how devalued our currency has become over the last 50 years, assets and goods of cost have skyrocketed at a faster pace than wages. So many jobs in the 1970s could support an entire family with a stay-at-home mom. But right now, unfortunately, that doesn't really happen.
You know what they wouldn't have been able to do? Okay. More than likely, the average, home back in whenever he had said it was, um, they weren't going out and buying all these name brand bags and driving these expensive $100,000 vehicles, right, on a single household income. They still lived the modest life. That's something I think a lot of people choose or are just not aware of. Not necessarily choose, but they're just not aware of it.
Happen anymore to the same degree. So most households need to have two people working to be able to afford to live in the city, especially a major American city in the Northeast or West Coast. And don't even get me started about the major cities in Canada, because those are even more unaffordable somehow. And it's like that around the world. So overall, her statement just comes across as so tone deaf, especially when she's making content like this.
Can you hold my stuffed animal? What? To her husband? Ooh. Bro. Oh. Just frustrates me. Okay. All right. I'm going to keep my mouth shut for this one.
Like, come on. And everyone knows how the internet goes. Like, once you start getting a little bit of backlash, unfortunately, people start, scouring the web for any information they can get about you. And it's safe to say that people found some things on her family and where potentially some of this money was from. But
I'm excited to see where this is. See, something about someone being out of touch and talking down to their audience, right? Just want to see the disaster unfold, see the tornado hit, see the storm fall upon them, see where it goes.
Let's start from the beginning, because it wasn't even that long ago. It was like a year ago, because Becca Bloom's first post was literally 1 year ago, meaning she amassed millions of followers in less than a year, which is insane. And I guess her meteoric rise and fall has been set against the backdrop of, $1,000 hauls, flights on private jets, and levels of wealth that most people can really only witness on TikTok. She's essentially just famous for blowing stupid amounts of money. So honestly, someone like this saying something out of touch is kind of like, oh wow, fork found in kitchen. It shouldn't really come as a surprise. She never apologized for being extravagant. Not that you should, but she seemed to definitely take some pride into it. But at least instead of
That's a lot of these types of content creators, right? They take pride in faking being rich. Like, yeah, no, this isn't new. They're gonna take pride in what doesn't exist because that's their whole thing, right? That's their persona. That's their identity on social media, at least.
trying to sell people on the whole, oh, you can do it too, buy my course. She simply just let people have a peek into what normally would be completely unavailable for the average person. Honestly, I feel like the bar is set pretty low when I'm like, hey, at least she didn't have a get rich quick course. But one of her most viral videos is, I guess, her just buying a brand new MacBook because she wanted a case, but the case that she liked didn't fit her current MacBook, so she just bought a brand new MacBook so it could fit the case.
I would love to see her that. If all this is fake, how is she getting it? Right?
Okay, please don't judge me for this, but I fell in love with a laptop
Oh, we're judging you 100%. Don't even ask. We're doing it already.
case, but they don't make it in my 15-inch size. It's only in 14
Why don't you spend some of that money on your teeth, lady? What is that?
inch. So I decided
Got a 15-inch gap between your teeth.
to buy a new laptop today. to fit that laptop case because it was just so pretty. I promise I'm not normally this extra.
You know, something that most people would never think of doing. Because like a lot of her videos, you would think
I'm sorry, it's all in her teeth, man. What? I'm sorry. Looked like a bad veneer job.
are parody, and then you're like, oh no, she's just really just that out of touch with reality. But then in other videos, she would do crazy stuff like arrange her cat's food and obviously drizzle them with caviar and so on and so on.
Plate my cat's breakfast with me. Oscar and I are actually eating from matching chargers this morning.
Oh, the bunny teeth again. Okay.
Sushi grade salmon sashimi. Our chef also made Oscar this tuna bone broth blend, soft boiled quail eggs. We have some salmon roe caviar for seasoning.
Oh, we got an ad.
Apparently her kitties are eating better than most people in the world. And obviously there were comments calling her out for how ridiculous this display of wealth was, but the overwhelming majority of viewers just really ate it up. So she shared her relationship, days of her life, outlandish hauls, wedding prep, and the occasional educational video about whatever topic was hot that day. But I feel like this is just a big reminder of, you know, just because someone has money or followers doesn't necessarily mean that they are wise or that you should actually listen to them. Because unfortunately, a lot of people look at these influencers as North Stars. As
I want to know who's listening to these people and what advice she's actually giving. Because I mean, I haven't really seen anything as far as her giving advice, just flaunting her wealth. That's all it is. Who's listening to her though? What advice is she trying to give? In my opinion, she can't give any advice. Because none of what she has is earned by her. It's all her husband, right? Or whoever the guy is in her life. I don't know.
to what rich people do and how they think. Because as easy it is to build
I'm sorry, rich people do not think the way she thinks, right? You don't get rich by doing what she's done. That's just not how that works.
the whole facade of being this like billionaire influencer, apparently can unravel equally as quickly. Because I feel like even the people who weren't interested in her excessive spending, they just rolled their eyes and continued scrolling. But when Becca decided to get on her TikTok unprompted and make a self-righteous speech about equality, people started raising their eyebrows.
Equality isn't identical treatment. Equality is balanced responsibility. And until society becomes statistically equal, you cannot cherry pick equality only in moments where it allows you to contribute.
I'm sorry. We're the one cherry picking equality? I'm pretty sure you're the one that cherry picked equality. No? Oh, am I wrong?
Less.
It seems like with her whole argument, she's trying to lean into the whole divine feminine narrative that's honestly pretty popular nowadays because it's glamorized. And
Yeah, telling guys, right, that paying the entire bill is the bare minimum, right? That women apparently have to go, and they're worried so much about their date, the date they chose to go on, that they have to share their location and fear for their lives and worry about, I don't know, domestic violence or something. Okay.
And for so many people, it's unattainable. And obviously, like, to be fair, like her points about women being at more risk in terms of safety, I'm not here to argue about her opinions on dating or, I guess, the socio standards between men and women. I'm just covering
No worries. I got you, as Atozy. I got you on this one.
what happened and how the internet reacted. Because it seems like the internet thought it was quite corny to get up on a soapbox and talk about equality when she exists on a financial class so far above the norm, it's hard to even imagine. So people were obviously quick to
What if she's the one that kind of exposes herself for being fake? That'd be interesting.
jump on her in the comments and remind her that even if she'd experienced inequality as a woman, that the level of wealth that she possessed has exempted her from a lot of that. Basically, a lot of people are like, why are you going on about this? I feel like people are like, we're here to see you unbox like 50 Hermes bags and feed your cat caviar we can't afford. Why are you trying to relate to us? So then her entire comments were like, you should redistribute
Valid. Oh, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna play this a couple more seconds because see where it's going.
your wealth instead of doing this, which is also crazy.
Agreed. You want to talk about inequality, right? And the wage gap or whatever you want to talk about. Why do you have so much money? Yeah, redistribute that well. Share it with us poor people. Come on now. Us minimum wage earners that will never be able to, hold one of these bags you've ever bought. Yeah. Let's share that.
And this then resulted into people deep diving into her family and how exactly they made their fortune. Because Becca has apparently mentioned and shown her family in previous videos, but she's never really talked about what they do for a living and where the money's from.
I want to give my parents as much privacy as possible, but obviously they're extremely successful and they're both entrepreneurs.
No way. He lives on mommy and daddy's money and she wants to talk about equality? She was given a golden spoon in her mouth and one up her butt and she wants to talk about equality? Okay.
Working in tech and real estate.
But I guess after this, the internet were like, okay, who are these people? So they decided to do some research and figure out what kind of family she's from. And allegedly, most of the information about Becca's parents has been wiped from the internet. And that's, again, allegedly, due to the fact that the company Becca's dad worked for was hit with multiple lawsuits and investigations for securities fraud and lying to investors. And that's never a good thing. But the company Camelot Information Systems is a holding company that conducts business through its operating subsidiaries in China. And in 2011, a short seller, Spruce Point Capital, issued a report which claimed that management had withheld negative business trends and raised the possibility that fraud had been committed. Ugh.
You know what's unfortunate with a lot of these companies that do fraud? It doesn't affect, these other big companies. It affects the little people that invested in them, right? That's usually how this happens. So is basically using that money that was used to defraud, usually the little people, right? To spend it lavishly on these trips, these products. It's just, it's disgusting.
So, to make a long story very short, they were accused of lying to investors about the value of the company to inflate the stock price. This was never proven, though, because the lawsuit was settled. So honestly, we'll probably never know. But it's not a great look, and it definitely doesn't scream billionaire.
No, it's a horrible look, actually. Yeah, just because it got settled doesn't necessarily mean it was completely adequate. It wasn't completely true, but also doesn't dismiss it at all. Right. Usually if it's settled by both parties agreeing that there's some fault on both sides. So, yeah.
But then to make things even worse for Becca, all of this attention led to people scrutinizing her clothes and her accessories and accusing her of flexing fakes. So now, people are claiming that she's never actually been as rich as she let on, and instead are alleging that she faked this lifestyle to grow a TikTok account, and now the facade is just
you can't really fake the flights. I mean, you can fake the plane, but if the plane's taken off or whatever, I mean, you can't really fake that per se. That house too, by the way, gorgeous house, I will say. Can't really fake that.
Completely collapsed. She's had lots of collabs or sponsored posts where she said herself that the company flew her out, or at least supplied the products that she's showcasing.
Come high jewelry shopping with me.
Bulgari flew us out to Italy to look at their newly unveiled collection, Polychroma.
So sure, she's flaunting being in Italy with an expensive brand, but I guess that's just because she's an influencer now and not because she's always been a billionaire. And I mean, look, she's obviously had money, and clearly her family does well for themselves, whether it's by questionable practices or not. And not to mention, her husband works in tech. So I mean, hey, there could easily be some money there. I don't think she's getting enough brand deals to put her in
Yeah, again, still doesn't negate the fact that she's talking down on people when she's over here living a high lifestyle, right? Like I said, the house is real. The house has to be real. I mean, they could be renting it, right? But regardless, something like that, it's going to cost a lot of money. Her husband being in tech, I mean, the way she treats him.
mansions and private jets and so on. So that money's external. So no, I don't think she's fake. I just don't think she's a billionaire. And she could have easily been embellishing things to kickstart her career. But I feel like what all this boils down to is people are just becoming tired of
Maybe a billionaire in debt. Could be something like that. I'd love to see the debt, though. I'm telling you. For sure, a ton of debt.
touch influencers and their extravagant lifestyles, and then them preaching to normal people. Like, wasn't it like Gustavo Fring who like recently was like, some of you guys must die so we can take back our country? And I feel like the rest of the people are like, I don't know about you, dog. I'm good. I'm chilling here. I'm not trying to die. I don't know, guys. We just live in some crazy times. We got a whole lot of people who are out of touch, but at least it's entertaining. So hey, if you're new here,
You can't deny that, right? You cannot deny that. It's definitely entertaining. 100%. I was entertained. This is a great video. I love Atozy. Great channel. Great videos.
feel free to subscribe, drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one, probably tomorrow. And also, I'm up all night. That's why I look completely fried in this video, because I have to get on a flight in like 3 hours because, yes, we're traveling for yet another video, and this video is going to be absolutely insane. But I needed to make sure.
Yeah, I seen this video he's starting to talk about, and it had to do with I guess some psychic lady accusing some professor of murdering students or something. It's pretty crazy stuff, pretty cringe. I honestly don't really think I'll cover it because it's over an hour long. But if he creates a short video like this, we'll go ahead and give it a cover, see what it's all about. But thank you so much for stopping by. If you've listened this long, watched this long, please go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications for more of my videos. I appreciate it all, and take care. Bye bye.